Self-realization is boring, right? Nobody wants to hear about the work they have to do on themselves. They want to be distracted. They want to focus on what's going on outside of them, like a meteor crashing to Earth or who the next president's going to be. That's way more exciting. And that's kind of what's wrong with humanity is that they haven't been raised up from birth to understand very basic principles about mentality, human beings, and that we have absolute control over our experience. You don't have to be upset um, or angry or have anxiety, but we are not taught this when we are young. We have absolute control over the thoughts that we entertain and whether or not we allow those thoughts to affect our emotions in a negative way. Sure, it's fine to jump up and down and be happy and all that, but it's still an imbalance being excited. I remember one time a friend that I made in Nepal a long time ago, and I'm still friends with him today. And I remember saying, we're going to start a business together. We wanted to back then. It didn't actually work out, but I said, I'm so excited. And he goes, No, don't be excited. It'll be okay. And he interpreted that to mean that I was anxious and out of control. And I've never thought of it that way. But that whole relationship with that person and going to Nepal and seeing how people think about things on the other side of the world changed my life. It changed my perspective. And that's what Buddhism does. And a lot of people are turned off by the word Buddhism because they don't understand what it means. They think it's a religion where you worship Buddha as a god, and that's just not true. It is psychology. That's what Buddhism means. To be a Buddha is someone who is mastering their mind. That's what being enlightened is all about. You realize that everything is illusion. It doesn't mean it's not real. It means that it isn't what it quite appears to be because it's all energy. And at the very core of everything is just pure emptiness and fullness. It's expansive consciousness where you are one with all that is. You realize that. And when you're in that state, you become very peaceful. You realize that all these things that people are distracting themselves with, it's just illusion. It's temporary. It's not permanent. Nothing is permanent. Everything is transitory. And so the practice, and it is a practice. See, nobody is perfect, but it's a practice to get up every single day and remember these things. Remember that you're the one that has the power to get up and be in a peaceful state. You don't even have to be happy. You don't have to be all, oh, yay, it's a beautiful day. Because sometimes it's not a beautiful day. Sometimes terrible things are happening in the world. This is why the Buddha says contentment is the greatest wealth, because peace is all you can possibly hope for in this world. It's the only thing that you have access to every single minute of your life, every second. You can always go right here. It's right in front of you. It's within you. And you focus on that and you be like, this is my peace. It's mine. Nobody can take this from me. So this is what self-realization is all about. Yourself, your identity, your personality, that's an illusion. You simply are a being having an experience, and you have absolute power over that experience, believe it or not. Now, people say, yeah, well, I have a right to be angry. Sure you do. And how's that working for you? Is it fun to be angry? Is it fun to be upset and anxious and angry about who the president's going to be? I mean, think about it. In the big picture, does that really matter? Does it really matter? Do you think that one person that calls themselves the president of America, and yeah, I'm using this because I am an American, I'm using this analogy, but do you think that having the right president in the office of the corporation of America, because that's what it is going to make your life all better imperfect? No, it's not. Nothing outside of you is going to make everything all better because nothing is perfect. And the country and the world is all made up of people who have different opinions, different views. So the only thing you can absolutely hope for is that everybody learns to respect each other's views. And even if you cannot change them, you can let them be who they are as long as they're not affecting you adversely physically. If they're not physically coming at you, that has nothing to do with you. Now, it gets into the area of harming other people and, how can you let people harm other people? Yes, you can stand up and speak out against that. Absolutely. At least I hope so still in America, because apparently there are people think that you cannot stand up and peacefully protest terrible things happening in the world. But you can do that. And there are always going to be consequences no matter what we do. Every action has an equal or opposite reaction. People think, oh, if I do this, it'll have positive results that will ripple through the universe and everything will be all better. But everything has an opposite reaction as well. So everything you do is going to cause something else to happen that you don't want to happen. And this is why you can't play God. And this is that's the meaning of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. We think we know what's good and what's wrong. It's really good and bad is what it was, not good and evil. And so we start micromanaging and playing God, and then we realize, well, it's not working. So we have the ability to reason and to know the difference between good and bad because we make up what's good and bad. And what's bad usually has to do with violence or, being nasty to someone. But truly, these are mental concepts. And this is why Buddhism is so important. And people don't realize that Buddhism is just psychology. It's mind mastery. So a lot of Christians believe that Buddha is a god to be worshipped. It's not true. A lot of Muslims might believe that. People in general all around the world need to understand that everything is about your mind and mastering your mind. You can't really control anything else. They say if you see the Buddha, Kill, the Buddha, can't even say that. And that doesn't mean literally do that. It means that you're not supposed to worship the teacher or a person's personality, identity, objects. It's the message, it's the teaching, it's the practice that you uphold, period. It's not about worship of something or someone. And this is the most important lesson that humans need to learn right now. Everything is impermanent. Everything's falling away. You're falling away right now. Your cells are falling off onto the floor, and that's dust. It's sand. You are dust in the wind. So once you integrate that and you realize that every single day of your life is different, you approach things differently. You no longer are distracted by all of this stuff, like who the president's going to be. You can engage in it, but ultimately, it doesn't matter because they're not going to fix the world. When we fix ourselves, we fix the world. And this is important to understand because people are so triggered because of their party affiliation or their discriminating opinions about the world, their superficial judgments, that kind of thing, that they forget that the humans, but what they don't realize is that each human being has the ability to be reasonable, be compassionate at any moment. It doesn't matter what their label is, whether they're a male or a female, or Republican, Democrat, Russian, American, Australian. It doesn't matter. We all have the ability to stop our fixations on the external world. That's the beast system. And go within and remember, we're just human beings. There are no borders. There's just land that we're walking on. If we're allowing this polarized system to control us and make us angry and pitted against one another, we're the problem.